Hello guys, welcome back to the Only Recaps channel. In this video I am going to explain one of the romantic movie Name It Boy. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe our channel for more interesting videos and spoilers ahead. The story begins with a woman named Alice who is 38 years old. She had come to oversee a magazine production. Now that her work is done, she is returning to her country. However, a man bothered her on the flight. Angered, she dragged a boy who had just come in and sat down. That boy immediately developed a liking for Alice. His name was Balthazar, and he was an architecture student. This was his first time flying in first class, so he was a little nervous. But for this, he adjusts with Alice. After settling down, they shared their names. Suddenly, Balthazar noticed a pen drive on the ground. He picked it up and tried to call Alice, but she had already left the plane. Alice got into her car and drove away, and Balthazar couldn't catch up with her. Meanwhile, Alice returned to work. She was working on a computer trying to find some important files, but couldn't locate them. That's when she realized that her pen drive was missing. She then saw a note left by her assistant and realized that Balthazar had found her pen drive. Alice quickly called Balthazar, but he was at a disco. When he heard Alice's voice on the phone, he panicked for no reason. Shortly after Alice arrived, Balthazar waved her over and introduced her to his friends. When Alice found out that Balthazar didn't have the pen drive at that moment, she asked him to retrieve it as soon as possible. Balthazar had to take her home. They both rode on Balthazar's pink scooter. He helped her put on the helmet. During this moment, Alice's colleague saw the scene and thought Alice was kissing someone. They took a picture, which would be useful later. At home, after searching thoroughly, Alice finally found a pen drive without any problems. As she was leaving, Balthazar followed her. Nervously, he raised his hand and asked her to meet him for coffee. Alice understood what he was thinking and said, "You're too young and we're not right for each other." She rejected him. The next day, Alice came to the office and noticed her colleague's odd expression. Finally, she found out from her assistant that everyone had seen the picture from last night. However, her boss saw it as a good thing. He thought it was great that Alice was romantically involved with someone 20 years younger. Influenced by her friends and wanting to keep her job, Alice decided to meet Balthazar again. She changed her usual attire and dressed sexily to go to college, where she asked Balthazar to join her for a show that evening. Eventually, Alice started liking him. That night, Alice woke up and opened the door where Balthazar stood outside. They kissed for the first time. After years of being single, she led Balthazar directly to her bedroom, and the noise startled the neighbors who were walking their dog downstairs. Alice invited Balthazar to the show to keep her job. Dressed in a beautiful black dress, Balthazar was left speechless by her beauty and couldn't help but praise her. Alice discreetly helped him with his clothes, making it seem like they were a couple. Though everyone thought they were together, Alice knew she was just acting. She saw how much Balthazar was enjoying himself, which made Alice feel embarrassed. Alice congratulated the organizer for his artistic skills. After dancing and drinking wine, she questioned whether the organizers needed to do anything fancy at all. Alice tried to hide her anxiety by laughing, but after that, Balthazar quietly followed her with his umbrella. When Alice answered her phone, she carefully kept her distance. She lied, saying that her daughter was in the hospital. So, Balthazar quickly ran to stop a car and let Alice go. Balthazar had to give his umbrella to a passenger who had just gotten out of the car. On the same day, Balthazar was taken to the company's fashion show. He took the opportunity very seriously because the president of the show was present. However, during the show, an accident occurred. A model accidentally fell. With courage, Balthazar came straight onto the runway to help her up, impressing the president, who was used to watching all kinds of fashion shows. He was pleased with Balthazar's quick thinking. Afterward, Alice took Balthazar to the company reception. She noticed that Alice was asking too many questions. She feared that if she was exposed, her plan would fail. Alice quickly pulled Balthazar onto the dance floor, and a dance in the middle of the event heated up the atmosphere. Deeply in love, Balthazar took Alice home on his pink scooter. He wanted to go upstairs and sit with her. Alice noticed what he was thinking and told him to leave, but Balthazar was madly in love with her, so he couldn't stop himself. He gathered the courage to lock the door at Alice's place. Alice cautiously opened the door and found Balthazar standing outside. When he realized she was alone at home that night, he immediately hugged her. They spent the night together. It's surprising how a 38-year-old woman could fall in love with a younger boy. Balthazar always found ways to surprise Alice on their dates. He wrote a message on a tree asking her to follow an arrow and pick up an MP3 player from under a bench. Then he arrived on his small pink scooter. He took Alice all around the city. Alice had seen many luxurious restaurants and roses the previous day, but this time she liked Balthazar's innocence and simplicity. Alice was able to keep her job as she had hoped. She was also thinking about whether she should continue this fake relationship. On that day, Balthazar had prepared a date. He talked to her about the future, but Alice spoke her mind directly. She said, "When I get old, you'll still be young. Don't think that we'll be happy. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I only have weekends to spend time with you. I don't want you to waste your young life because of this." Hearing this, Balthazar was shocked, but he didn't know how to handle a wise woman like her. They broke up, and the same thing happened as it always does. Balthazar returned home, depressed. He didn't go out the entire day, and stayed home. However, the breakup had changed Alice's boss when he found out. When Alice inspected everything, she was very upset. Eventually, she became attracted to the young male model who had walked the runway last time. She asked Shayla to bring him here. Alice's boss wasn't aware that she and Balthazar had broken up, but fate seemed to be trying to bring them back together. Balthazar came to her on his own. He thought Alice was trying to reconcile with him, but when he found out Alice's true intentions, he angrily turned away, saying, "I know." The next day it was the photo shoot, and Alice was waiting for Balthazar. He hadn't responded to her calls. When she thought Balthazar wouldn't show up, she went to report to her boss. But just then, her assistant came and said that Balthazar had already registered. Her friend arrived and found Balthazar in the middle of makeup. He told Balthazar that Alice was only using him for a promotion today. After learning the truth, Balthazar didn't show his emotions. He went on with his day as usual, but during the shoot, he became extremely angry over the photographer's inappropriate behavior. He stormed out, walking straight into the water. Alice followed him and apologized. At this point, Balthazar accused Alice in front of everyone of being selfish and betraying him for a career. Alice had nothing to say. Due to the scandal, her boss fired her from the job. One day, Alice unexpectedly found Balthazar's lost shoes. She silently stared at them for a long time. It wasn't until her daughter called out to her from behind that she responded. She realized that she had fallen deeply in love with Balthazar. So, she decided to set aside her pride and follow her love. And then Alice went directly to the college, found Balthazar's classroom, and confessed her love for him in front of everyone. When Balthazar questioned their future, she kissed him of her own will. And with that, the story comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.